All right, we're working now. Good evening, everybody. It's 7 o'clock. We're going to start night 2 of our special town meeting for December 16th, 2024. Again, I want to point out that you should take a look where the emergency exits are in case you had to leave. It may not be through the door with which you entered the building. So just be mindful of that. I'm assuming that I can hear myself pretty well up here, so you guys must be hearing pretty well. And without any further, if anybody's got anything else, I think we just go into the meeting. Our first article is Article 9. The Select Board moves that the town will vote to authorize the Select Board to declare available for disposition a certain parcel of town-owned land located at 1929 Main Street, Marshfield, Mass., also identified on the Marshfield Assessor's Maps as parcel D18-02-05, containing .8 acres of land, more or less, for affordable housing purposes, and further to authorize the Select Board to dispose of said parcel by sale, conveyance, or otherwise under such terms as the town may specify, consistent with all applicable legal requirements. And this is going to be a majority vote. Mr. Moresco?
Michael Moresco, 201 Arlington Street. Tonight, before town meeting, this article, we have to go all the way back to June 22nd of 2020. And this parcel of land was the McCleary land, and it was purchased for open space and affordable housing. There's language within the original article restricting a portion of the land for affordable housing. Tonight, we're asking town meeting to authorize the Select Board to declare this available for disposition so that there's a house there. Anyone who drives by 1929 on Main Street, you'll see a house. It was a family homestead that's there, and the goal is to put an affordable unit in there. The Housing Trust will work with possibly Habitat to put the affordable housing unit in there, which was authorized back on June 22nd, 2020.
Okay. Advisory Board? Okay, support with no further comments. So again, this is going to be a majority vote, going to discussion from the floor. Right microphone.
Stephen Lynch, 50 Central Street. So does this mean we're selling this property?
We own it.
Mr.
On the
Moresco?
open market?
No, pardon me, Michael Moresco, 201 Arlington Street. We own the land.
I know, but if you're going to put a house on it and sell it to someone, correct? An affordable house, or is it going to be a rental? What is this?
It would be up to the trust to decide what type of unit will be there.
So town of Marshfield funds are going to pay to build the house on the property?
I'm not going to be able to answer that question because,
Town Council nods yes.
And where is that funding coming from? The general fund? How do we fund the trust?
Oh, you got it right there. Rather than translate.
So town funds, Robert Galvin, Town Council, 26 Aunt Lizzie's Lane. Town funds were used to acquire the property. It was acquired for affordable housing and open space purposes. The lot was divided with a portion of it being set aside for affordable housing and a portion of it set aside for conservation and open space purposes. This is the affordable house home parcel on this site, and the town is asking for the town meeting to approve the disposition of this property by sale, conveyance, or otherwise, and there'll be an RFP, and we'll try to limit for affordable housing purposes, and by contributing the property, we're contributing town funds to the development of an affordable house on this property or homes.
So let me get this clear. Are we going to sell it to the person who's going to live in it as affordable, or are we going to rent it to them?
Well, I think what Mr. Moresco was beginning to say was the Affordable Housing Trust is going to probably solicit ideas to either sell it or lease it, And until they're done with determining how it's best used and how it can be best disposed of for affordable housing, we don't know that. But we're asking authority to either sell or lease the property.
And how much do we pay for the property?
Do you know?
I don't remember at the
I can answer,
Okay.
answer that question. $400,000 we paid for, we bought all the land.
Okay,
It's the whole-
thank you.
It's the whole parcel.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Kelly?
Eric Kelly, Peace and Path. My concern, especially with the answers given to Mr. Lynch, is that we're unsure of some things. And my concern is that the town is looking to dispose of the land, and we don't know how that's going to be done, it sounds like. And we're shooting for the GLAM number, and if the town unloads us, then our GLAM number is going to decrease, it sounds like. So couldn't the town do affordable housing without releasing the land?
Well, I spoke to Mr. Guimond earlier today and wanted to address the GLAM question. Karen wants to address the GLAM question.
Karen Horn, 36 Phillips Farm Road. I'm the assistant planner and the housing coordinator. So when we do the GLAM calculation, it looks at town land, but it also looks at the land set aside for affordable housing, which is actually the numerator of the calculation. So once this is set aside as an affordable unit on the subsidized housing index, it will carry more weight than if the town owns it. And the idea being that, as Mr. Galvin said, it would be an RFP to solicit proposals to rebuild that house that then would be a deed-restricted home approved to be put on the SHI list.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if that answers your question, Mr. Kelly.
No, that covered, I think, a good portion. I appreciate it. I guess the one question after that I want to ask is if the town does decide to unload the property and it is considered a affordable house or property that's on there, is there a set timeline that may expire in the future, or is that forever going to be considered an affordable property, I guess?
Mr. Galvin?
We would make it a perpetual restriction that does not expire, including in the event of foreclosure if we sell it.
All right, thank you.
Left microphone.
Grayson Pelletier, 1050 Careswell. I am 18 years old and I love this town, but I'm completely aware in a couple years when I move away for college that I'm probably never going to come back to this town because I'm not going to afford living here. With that bleak, aside, I completely support the town's efforts to try to get more housing and more affordable housing and more way for us younger people to come back to our hometown and live here and start families here and to really carry on our lives here instead of moving to places that we could afford, which is starting to become less and less as the years go on. And I really want to live in this town. This town has given me so much. This town has given me a future. This town has given me opportunities. This town has given me the chance to sit up there with all you guys who do time for the town. When the chair of the school board gives me the opportunities to go speak on testimony for bills. God, I have so many good memories of this town. I want to live here. I urge everyone here to vote positively on this proposal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Grayson's been doing the clock for us for the last 5 meetings, so I think he deserves a round of applause for doing that. Right microphone.
Bert O'Donnell, 90 Summer Street. I'm somewhat familiar with this property. A lot of you may remember my wife Karen. She was chair of open space when it was purchased. And it was always the intention that the house lot would remain as affordable housing. It's a small lot. It's also wet. It's going to be very limited as far as what can be done there. But I think it's a good use of that piece of land. and the rest of it will remain open space. And if I recall correctly, that $400,000 was the price for the whole 15 acres, not just the small house lot. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no more discussion, we're going to go to a vote. Again, this is a majority vote. All those in favor of Article 9, raise your hand. All those opposed, I declare that Article 9 passes by majority. Okay, we are on to Article 19. What's on deck? 15 on deck? 7 is on deck. Article 19 is linked to Article 20, so we're going to be dealing with those two in a row. The motion is, the planning board moves that the town vote to approve Article 19 as set forth in the December 16th, 2024 special town meeting warrant. It's going to be a 2/3 vote. Mr. Guimond.
Greg Guimond, Ice House Lane. Recently, the planning board, our planning department, saw a draft proposal to locate a battery energy storage system in the Furnace Brook Zone 2, adjacent to an elementary school. After doing research on the subject, the planning department has prepared zoning language to direct such facilities away from the town's well supplies and parts of the town with smaller lots and flooding concerns. And we do have the slide up. And as last night, same as last night, the last one over the Brant Rock Village overlay area was a Scribner's error, but because it is a more restrictive than what we advertised at our public hearing, I will have to come back at next town meeting to fix that one. In Article 20, the definition of BESS is battery energy storage system. Energy storage system that uses batteries to store energy from the grid, solar installations, or other sources for later use. These are important, but these are not things that should be in the Zone 2. Thank you.
Okay. Do you also, town council said we should have to get the planning board report on this article as well?
Yep. Planning board voted 3-0 in favor.
Okay. Advisory board? Okay, unanimous support. So we're going to discussion from the floor. Against reminding, it's a 2/3 vote. Mr. Kelly.
Eric Kelly, Peterson Path. I have concerns with this battery storage, especially if, is there a restricted size in regards to where they can be placed in regards to how many batteries or storage batteries that can be used?
We do not have any restrictions or specific requirements for these facilities.
So they can go next to the schools, I would imagine, right? Or in the school property?
No, because the schools are in a Zone 2.
They're
Well,
all in
at
the
least
school-
these schools.
All the schools are in a zone too?
Not all the schools, but this school is, the high school, the middle school, and the elementary school here are all in the Furnace Brook wells.
So that leaves it open for the,
Governor
Yeah, but-
Winslow and Daniel Webster are not in Zone 2s. I don't think Ames Way is in a Zone 2. I don't have the map, so I can't answer that question tonight.
you know, we hear about the fires with the batteries, especially in the EVs and all that, and they're very difficult to put out, to my understanding. Can I get a comment from the fire chief in regards to what they think of this?
Hi, Mike LaSalva, Fire Chief. I'm sorry, Eric, what was your question?
I have concerns. I mean, you know, I don't know if it's the same type of battery that the EVs use. I'm getting the impression, but, you know, you hear the stories in regards to EVs, whether it's an accident or whatever, but they go up in fire, and it's very difficult for the fire department to put out. And I'm concerned that wherever these battery storage systems are located, that if they catch on fire, you guys, it won't be able to be easily put out. And so have you looked into this and what is your recommendation in regards to it?
Well, we've been dealing with photovoltaic solar panels on roofs for years now. And as the technology evolves, it does get safer. That's not to say, though, the battery fires from stored solar energy or from lithium-ion batteries do take a lot more to put out. I don't have any data with me on that, but I do know that I can't think of any lithium-ion battery fires that I've had in my career within the last year and a half anyway. They're inherently dangerous just like anything else, but like I said, the technology has evolved to where they are. They're safe, but they're not 100% safe.
I understand what you're saying. So,
Okay,
I
thank
mean,
you.
if one of these, we don't even know what the size could be. So let's say one of these catches fire. What is the fire department, suggesting in regards to putting it out? I mean, is there any standard to it, or?
I don't have the SOG in front of me, but we do have an SOG that refers to lithium-ion battery fires. And like I said, they don't go out easily, especially if you have one like you made mention in an electric vehicle. There's a bank of them, probably, which would be the same for the systems we're talking about here. You'd have a bank of storage where, yeah, it could take anywhere from 15,000 to 25,000 gallons of water to put one out.
The way I look at it as of right now, especially upon Fire Chief LaSava's comments, is that I would like to have a no vote on this, and then let's find out, we can go forward, especially if one of these do catch fire, because these will probably be a disaster for the area, especially in regards to pollutants and the surrounding area that'll impact. I'd like to wait and then see what a better plan is, especially if these do catch fire. Thank you.
Okay. Woman at the right microphone.
Tina Shea, Careswell Street. I believe there is a special fire training for electric. Have our firefighters been trained?
It's a little beyond the scope of the article, but I think that's worth asking. Chief?
How is that beyond the scope of the article?
Because
I'd like to know if
we're talking
there's
about this location. And, we're gonna answer the question. It was just, we're not getting into that training part. She was asking if.
I'm
do you have
asking if they're
training
trained to
on-
put the fire out if
Right.
there's a fire battery. I think it's
Have you
within the
gone through
scope.
training? Have your people gone through training for putting out battery fires?
We have, yes.
And what is the name of that training?
Pardon me? I didn't
The
understand your question.
specific training that they've been through?
Do you have
Just call
specific
it
training?
Fire training.
Nope, there's a specialized training for solar panel and battery fires.
It's still a fire. We just look at a fire as a fire.
I understand that, but there
our,
is a specific training, so have you been, so the answer is no?
Some of our staff has been through alternative fuel vehicle fires, right, which constitutes electric, natural gas, propane, any line of alternative fuels for vehicles. I know we've been through that. If there's a fire that involves any electrical components, which that's what this is, it's an electrical component, we treat it like we would any other type of fire. We want to kill the power source first and then fight the fire.
Okay.
I think that's the best I can answer that.
So, no. Thank you.
Left microphone.
Steve Lakatos, 184 Elm. What's a battery look like? I mean, are these things, a small shed? What do they look like? I have no idea.
Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
our building commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The 10th edition of the building code, which is coming out on January 1st, has a whole new section about battery energy storage systems. both for in the house and also commercially. A lot of these have been, get mounted onto the side of the house, or you're able to create a cabinet inside the house or in the garage with the right fire protection around it. For some of the commercial ones, they can be a lot larger. They could be the size of this podium. They could be the size of a small shed, or multiple of those types in a row. The important thing to remember is that these are going to be permitted by code. So the intent of labeling where they are permitted in town is more of a health and safety issue. We don't want them in areas that are going to be flooding, that are sensitive areas as far as wetlands, wellhead protection, that type of a thing. So we're trying to get ahead of that, especially if this is going to be something that's kind of a protected use in the future.
Okay.
Chris Savoya, 214 Plain Street. I'm an engineer, electrical engineer, work for Teradyne. We've done work with Tesla and other grid scale manufacturers like that before. Just a quick note for everyone's education. Lithium ion, that's more dangerous. It tends to be what's in the car. It's very energy dense, allows you to carry more power. Grid scale storage tends to be lithium iron phosphate, which is a much less dense and safer, not as volatile. It doesn't lead to the same kind of fires that the kind of energy pack you'd see in a car or something like that. I would also just further note that I would imagine if the town's going to invest in this, we wouldn't allow cheap Chinese batteries and these kind of things. So I think investing in good quality products is also important. But I'd encourage anyone to look up lithium iron phosphate batteries and the difference between grid scale storage and then like what you see on electric bikes and things like that catch on fire all the time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Jackie Mason, 1415 Ocean Street. You said DWS and GWS aren't zoned for, what does that mean for the future of those?
The Zone 2 is our well protection areas.
Okay.
So last night we had a discussion about Zone 1s, which is the 400 feet. Zone 2 is a much larger area, but if you pump the well for a certain amount of days, it will get into the well.
Okay, so will they be placed near GWS or
This would
DWS?
take it out of the WRPD. It would be prohibited in the water resource protection districts.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So there's nobody else for discussion. We're going to call for a vote on Article 19. Again, this is a 2/3 vote. All those in favor of Article 19, please raise your hand. All those opposed? I declare that that passes by 2/3. We're going to go to Article 20 because that's a linked article. And it's being moved as written, as it was before. And I don't know if there's anything more. I think Mr. Guimond addressed the comments in Article 20. Does anybody have any questions on Article 20? I'm going to go to a vote. Again, 2/3 vote. All in favor of Article 20, please raise your hand. All those opposed? I declare that Article 20 passes by 2/3. Where are we at? 7. Article 7. So in Article 7, we have 2 amendments that have been raised at the beginning. The first amendment is from, let me just read this first. The Select Board moves that the town vote to approve Article 7 as set forth in the December 16, 2024 special town meeting warrant. I'm putting the cart before the horse a little bit. Ms. Marisco?
Michael Moresco, 201 Arlington Street. This article was put in here because historically our town does what every other town does, and that is the executive branch of government can issue licenses for alcohol to be consumed on town property or town buildings. What this does is it clarifies by a article, by a bylaw, that can be done. And that's why we're bringing it before the residents tonight to approve this so that places like the Daniel Webster can continue to have weddings. No one's going to go to a wedding if they can't have a cocktail. Places like North River Art Society does the festival. They have outside cocktail party and arts and things like that. some of our local restaurants also. If you go to the Bridgeway, they have outside seating in the sidewalk town area. Also, trying to think, Coastal Grill in the center of town, they have outside seating on town property. So this will address all of those issues and let alcohol be served there.
Okay. Advisory Board. Unanimous support from the Advisory Board. So let me get back to where I started, unfortunately. There are two amendments to this article that were put on the floor, and the first that came up to me was from Michelle Jarvis, who is at the left microphone, and that is the one in the middle of the article, and I'll read the amendment. The amendment includes the word nonprofits. I'm trying to see where that is in there, because we had that typed out. I think we want to add the word. Yes. Yeah, accepting the advance written consent of the Board of Selectmen. Accepting for the advance written. Do we need to put that in there where I gave it to Jay to type up? I think you're missing a section. You're just looking for the 12C licensed caterers part.
Most importantly, preferably, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that should be caterers. So the amendment is to add in the term, or select board approved 12C licensed caterers, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's what the amendment is. So we're going to have discussion on I'm accepting that as a legal amendment. We're going to have discussion on the amendment only, and you get to present it.
Michelle Jarvis, Neptune Road. Good evening, fellow Marshfield residents. While I am in support of the town of Marshfield codifying the one-day permit process in our bylaws, I do so with trepidation of the language as is currently listed on tonight's warrant. I am a small business owner here in Marshfield and operate a boutique catering company called H. Cole that holds a 12C liquor license, which is issued by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Adult Beverage Control Commission. This liquor license is attached to our van's license plates. And while it is important for Marshfield to adopt the same opportunities for special one-day permits as do our surrounding towns in the South Shore to serve alcohol on town-owned property, the current bylaw prohibits for-profit businesses to obtain all alcohol permits, which are limited by the ABCC for nonprofit use only. My proposal here on the floor is to amend the current language under a 10-word modification to the following, which you see in front of you. I would also recommend with this change that the town of Marshfield adopts a similar strategy to that of Situate, where the select board vets and lists approved caterers with 12C's licenses to be permitted to host for-profit and privately attended social events on town-owned property. This amendment would supersede a special day one-day permit, which our liquor liability insurance covers the town of Marshfield as additionally insured on a rider to serve all alcoholic beverages and not be limited to wine and malt beverages under the special license restrictions. Over the past week, I've had several conversations with the Chamber of Commerce, the Beach Commissioner, other positions of leadership within the town, as well as fellow business owner Julie Ellis of the Chef's Table, who also holds a 12C license to support this language change and process to keep events safe and seamless for our community. And I thank you for your time and consideration and be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Discussion is only on the amendment, not on the article at this point. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, I'll call.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you have any discussion on her amendment?
Oh, no. Okay.
The only, Eric Kelly's Peter Pat, the only concern I have is, I don't believe we have a approved 12C licensed caterers. Would I be correct about that?
Could you speak in the microphone a little bit? Yeah, tip it up. What was your question again?
Does the select board have approved 12C licensed caterers?
That's a state license. It's not a Marshfield license.
Okay, so they're already approved, I would imagine then, right? Is it?
Yeah, they come in as approved 12C licenses.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Discussion on the amendment?
Yeah, yes.
Yep.
So it says.
Name and address.
Sorry, Joe Pasevich, I should know better. Joe Pasevich, 25 Wilson Road. It says you can get it, you can drink alcohol in public and all those other places if the select board gives you a license to do so. Now, 12C licensed caterers don't need select board approval?
They would still need approval. Yes.
Yeah, it's just that word "or."
We're talking about the amendment.
Right.
Which is or select board approved 12C licensed caterers.
Right, so it's saying you get a license from the select board.
One of-
Or you're just a
Just a
12C
second.
licensed caterer.
So if reading it the way it's intended now, I believe, you require advance written consent to the select board and pursuant to a special license issued under Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 14, or select board approved 12C licensed caterers. So you need the advance written consent and one of the two licenses. That's how it reads.
Okay, I mean, if it,
That's how we would interpret it, Mr. Pasevich.
okay, as long
Okay.
as it's clear, thanks.
Okay. See no further discussion. I'm going to go to a vote on this amendment. It's going to be a majority vote. All in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. All opposed? The amendment passes. Okay, we have a second amendment. And this amendment reads, it's what's at the bottom of your screen in red. In no event shall the alcohol permits be issued for the town pier parking lot, Harbor Park, the DSA, or the DSA parking area. Take it away.
Thank you. Madeline Daly, MacArthur Lane. I propose this tonight just because in the past, an event that has been held in this area that has received alcohol permits, it has caused congestion, it causes financial economic burden to the businesses, and in addition to it, is a huge inconvenience to the local residents. So I'm putting this forth so that that area is protected from this article. I think it's, the area it's a seasonal area. So businesses can only make their money and income from May through the end of September. To take a day from these people, it's wrong. Nobody should take a day's pay from people. And it also prevents people from working that are self-employed. So I just feel that in this economy, no person should go without a day's pay just to have a festival in the area.
Okay. Before we go to discussion of the amendment, I want to do one Scrivener's change to that, where it says, in no event shall alcohol permits be issued. If you can insert beverage between alcohol and permits, it makes it more alcoholic beverage permits. Better language.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to discussion on the amendment.
Oh, sorry.
Bonnie Owens, Old Main Street. I'd like to say that I strongly disagree with what Madeline just said. I'm the marketing director for Mamma Mia's, which is on the direct bus route to Lobster Fest, which is the event in question. And I would say that it certainly did not hurt our business. It was very beneficial for our business. We are very grateful for that boost on that day. Green Harbor is a very tough side of town to run a business. I live in North Marshfield, and I would never order pizza from Mamma Mia's because I don't want to go all the way across town. So it was really good to bring all sorts of people. I'm also the popcorn colonel for Pack 97 Marshfield for the second year running, and selling popcorn at that event is our largest fundraiser of the day, and we have over 75 scouts currently enrolled in Pack 97, and we would be devastated to lose this fundraising opportunity. Thank you. I would strongly urge you not to accept this amendment.
Okay. That's it. Mr. Lynch.
Steve Lynch, 50 Central Street. So this amendment isn't just to stop one event, it's to stop many events that could happen there. And what happens when, let's get right to it, it's the Lobster Fest that we're trying to stop from being held at the town pier. It should be at the Marshfield Fair, which is more than welcoming to them. Alcohol and boats does not mix. And in case anyone in this room doesn't know, 2 years ago, when the Lobster Fest was held at the town pier, which, by the way, there's a state rule against alcohol being sold on town launching ramps, but we had the opening of tuna fishing that day. So we had all of the commercial fishermen, which I am, a member of Marshfield Commercial Fishermen's Association. We had all of those people who use the pier every day in this tiny little resource that we have in our area. All the people in the marinas, the recreational boats. And then we had an influx of trucks with trailers and boats coming to launch their boats to go tuna fishing. And half of the parking lot was blocked off by vending trucks that Lobster Fest gets paid for allowing them to go to Lobster Fest. They get paid, a private organization, for renting taxpayers' property. The road gets blocked off. All the traffic is rerouted onto Central Street, which goes by plenty of our homes, my home included. And there's just no reason when we have a venue like the Marshfield Fair, I'm not against the Lobster Fest, but it should be held at the Marshfield Fair. And the serving of alcohol and the mixture of all these groups together is just not fair to the Marshfield commercial fishing fleet and everyone who uses the town pier. I'm for this amendment. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Darcy.
Steve Darcy, Temple Road. This would also affect weddings that are held in Harbor Park. There have also been Citizen of the Year events that have been held in the Harbor Park and the town pier as well, so they would also be impacted. Mr. Lynch is correct that this amendment is targeted at Lobster Fest. So I've gone to Lobster Fest to see for myself what goes on down there. And I can tell you that the boat ramps are open during the event, and I've seen fishermen come in and out during the course of the event. So the degree to which they're affected has been quite exaggerated. And when businesses being impacted was mentioned, what was left out was the number of vendors that are there for the event, lined up with tents all around the perimeter of the whole pier in the harbor. The number of folks who go there, we have nonprofits going, and a ton of local businesses. So those folks are being left out of the business impact calculation. And frankly, it would benefit the point if they applied for a permit to serve outside during the event as well. So they would be impacted if we were to vote to pass this amendment. And frankly, I commend all the volunteers who put this event together, because building something is where the real work is. It's easy to tear things down. The real work is putting your time in and volunteering your time to make things better, to put together a great event for our town. And we lost a great man in our town very recently, Jack Cantwell, and he raised his kids and he taught them, before you complain, ask yourselves, have you volunteered yet? So I commend those folks. I thank them for the work that they've put in, and I would urge you to vote down this very discouraging amendment. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you.
Yes, I agree with
Name
Steve.
and address, please.
Peg Davis, 87 New Street, Marshfield. I agree with Mr. Darcy about this. I think that this event enhances the businesses in Marshfield. It's supported, it's engineered by the Chamber of Commerce, which supports all the businesses in Marshfield. And I think it's a tremendous event for attracting people from outside Marshfield to our community and showing the beautiful resources that we have. And I think that if there's any issue with the lobster fishermen, this can be negotiated and worked with the chamber. I am against this amendment, and I think we should defeat it.
Okay. Mr. Pasevich.
Thank you. Joe Pasevich, Wilson Road. I just heard a statement by a preceding speaker saying that there are weddings and other events in the area that are going to be affected if this amendment goes through. I'd like to know, Mr. Moderator, if anybody can recollect or tell me, have liquor permits been issued for weddings and other events besides Lobster Fest in that area?
Can anybody answer that question? I'm not sure who actually issues those permits. If they're coming from the Board of Selectmen, does anybody remember issuing a one-day for the Harbor Park? Apparently not.
So I think what this is going to do then is going to create.
Do you have?
Oh, maybe the chief.
Chief?
The only one that I remember was Bud Brewster's Citizen of the Year.
Okay.
So now what's going to happen, since we've added the 12C licensed caterers, and we're not going to put any restrictions on the usage of this town pier area, and since it is very scenic and very nice, and probably they have been weddings and stuff down there, but probably without alcohol. So I think without this amendment, what happens now with all the other conditions is there's probably going to be a very large influx of requests to have events like weddings and reunions, et cetera, in that area, and they're all going to be looking to serve alcohol. So now you're going to have a bunch of small parties serving alcohol, which is going to create the potential for problems. And you know how I've been to some crazy weddings. So I think this is a bad combination right now, and it's a good reason why we should have this amendment. You could have, I'd be willing to make an exception for Lobster Fest, but see, I don't want to see dozens and dozens of activities and events down there now, where all you need is, where there's no restrictions and you have 12C caterers willing and able to serve. So absent any other changes,
Okay.
I'm in favor of the amendment. Thank you.
Rear microphone.
Great. Dan Greeny, Canal Street. I guess and I've actually never been to Lobster Pound or Lobster Fest, despite spending lots of time down at the town pier. I understand it to be largely a lot of vendors, and can't Lobster Fest go on without alcohol? I mean, it's not exactly a purely alcoholic-driven event. Is that right?
I don't run it, but I suppose so.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks.
Mr. Kelly?
Eric Kelly, Peterson Path. I mean, the one thing I'm trying to understand, especially this process over the summer, is, and I don't think I've received an answer on it, is what is the problem of having it held at the fairgrounds? Can somebody from the chambers answer that for me?
Can anybody from the chamber make a comment?
As somebody who has lived for quite a while.
Name and
putting up
address,
with
please.
James Buckner, 460 South River. And that kind of tells it. We have, when there's a fair, when there's any kind of huge production, it does a tremendous amount of backup, and you can hardly get out of that area of a South River Street. I'm not arguing against the fair.
We're talking about the amendment.
I got it.
Okay. And this was, we were looking for somebody from the chamber to make a comment. Are you from the chamber?
I would like to make a comment because I'm directly affected by everybody.
Okay, but that's not what we're
wanting to
looking for
wish-
right now. Just keep your powder dry for just a minute, because we're looking for a response from the chamber, which we have somebody right over there to do the response from the chamber on Lobster Fest.
Hi, I'm sorry to interrupt you. My name is Lara Braid, 24 Grace Lane. I'm the Executive Director of the Marshfield Chamber of Commerce. I do want to say, Mr. Moderator, that I do think that that question is outside the scope of the article. This is on the amendment. So to answer your question, Mr. Kelly, there's many reasons why we do not host Lobster Fest at the fairgrounds. We believe that the shoreline, the beaches, the boats, the seaside activities are one of Marshfield's greatest resources, and that's why we like to highlight that area of our town. We have miles and miles of beaches and coastline in Marshfield, and that's one of the main reasons why people summer here. I'm sure there's people sitting in the audience here that started summering in Marshfield. It's a very attractive place to live, work, and play, as we call it, from the chamber perspective. Is it okay if I touch on a couple things that other people said? Or would you like me to just answer that question and then start
Well,
over?
Mr. Kelly's actually got the floor, so
Okay.
you can come back and speak to it then, because
Okay.
you were just responding.
Okay, sure,
Okay,
thank you.
great.
I want to thank Lara for that, for the response she gave. I mean, you know, I know people enjoy having it there, but I also know that people that live down there, work down there, have a problem with it, between roads being blocked off, and then parking spaces being eaten up and everything. And the whole thing is that it's unfortunate that this couldn't have come together in regards to a public session and discuss this matter, and before it reached this level, in regards to iron out the issues on both sides. Unfortunately, I'm going to be for this this amendment, but the whole thing is that I would like to see the chamber come together with the residents and those who operate in that area, have a discussion in regards to what can you do to make life better for everybody down there, but also maybe have be able to hold this event, and then accommodate everybody that's going to be impacted. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Lynn Fiddler, 77 Brook Road. I'm also the chair of the select board, but I'm speaking for myself. I had the opportunity to participate as a guest and a visitor to Lobster Fest this year. I wanted to make sure I was boots on the ground, as they say, to kind of give it the once-over. It was a beautiful day. I looked at the ramp, I looked at the parking, I actually took the bus, put myself there with strollers and all sorts of things. It was fun, it was a great day. So my point for getting to the microphone is to just reiterate how important it is that the executive branch, and whether it's me or someone else down the road, that we have an opportunity to keep our eyes, keep our eyes and dot our I's, cross our T's on where things occur and how they go about. So we need to make sure that we have our certificates of insurance. We need to make sure we have site plan. We've got all of the things through the MFD and the Marshfield Police Department, and all of that all in order before we allow things to happen. So I'd like to let you know that I would not be in favor of this particular amendment that my fellow board member just supported, and actually also said that he hadn't had an opportunity to discuss this, where we have had this on our agenda several times as part of our town meeting. So I'd appreciate it if you voted this new amendment down. Thank you.
Okay. Lara, I'm going to give you a chance to say a couple of words, and then we're going to go to a vote on the amendment. Did you want to say something?
She was standing here before I came up, so if she
Oh, I'm
was
sorry.
the last speaker, yeah.
Michelle, I didn't know you were back there.
I'll be quick. Michelle Jarvis, Neptune Road. First, I just wanted to speak to what a 12C licensed caterer is, to clear up any confusion of what this license can and cannot do on town property. So the license is issued by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's for the entire state.
Are you addressing
It's going to go, it's directly to the amendment. I'm addressing.
this amendment?
To this amendment.
Okay.
Yes. In order for licensed caterers to be able to utilize this, we have to be in compliance with the chief of police and the select board for alerts and make sure that all of our liquor liability is additionally assured the town of Marshfield. So in Harbor Park, the DSA parking area, if we are hired by a private client, we cannot host any public events with this license. It can only be for 5 hours, and we cannot solely serve alcohol. It has to be a fully cooked food and beverage event. So in case there was any confusion on what we can and cannot do with this license, to speak to the amendment as far as it pertains to Lobster Fest, I'll be the first one to admit there are moments within that festival that are problematic, but the overall vibe of the event is the mission of what the Chamber of Commerce has put in place to do, which is to drive economic development to small businesses in our community. So opposed to codifying this amendment to the article, perhaps it's better served for the community to be more involved in the overall creation of this event versus shutting it down after what I've heard is 3 very successful financial events over the past several years.
Okay. Laura?
Thank you. I just wanted to be very clear that this isn't something that just happens in a few days. The planning for this event takes months and months, and there are lots of people that are involved in this, including the fire department, the police department, the state of Massachusetts, the Chamber of Commerce, volunteers, a lot of people. I hate to call them out, but the fire chief and the police chief are both here. I don't know if Harbor Master DeMeo's here, but I have never been aware of an actual complaint that has happened in result of this event from any drinking of alcohol. So I don't know if they wanted to comment on that, but I know that there has not been any problems. Our event is for 5 hours on one day, although I will say the event is one day, but we do use the parking lot for 3 days, which we do receive a permit from the state of Massachusetts for. So I just wanted to comment on that. Thank you.
Okay. Madeline, you raised your hand, so I'll give you...
Yes, I would like to bring attention to the fact that the organization sent the police to 2 homes this past festival, and that there was also damage of property to the fishermen's a huge container of bait. So maybe it wasn't directly affected the organizers or the event, but it affected the residents by sending police to their homes. So there was events.
All right. So we're done with discussing... Oh, Chief?
Phil Tavares, Police Chief and resident. I'm not sure exactly the 2 events she's talking about. I know one of them with the fish bait, that was our fault. It was left on the docks, and we threw it away. So that wasn't anybody from Lobster Fest. And I believe we paid restitution for that. In regards to anything else, I'm not aware of any alcohol-related problems at all we've had down there since this has taken place.
Okay. So we're going to a vote on the amendment. So a vote in favor of the amendment would eliminate having alcoholic beverages being able to served at Town Pier and Harbor Park and in that area. So that is a positive vote on this article. A negative vote would defeat that proposal and would still allow alcohol to be served down there. So this is a majority vote. All those in favor of the second amendment, please raise your hand. All those opposed? The amendment fails. Okay, we are on to discussing the article as amended by the First Amendment. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll go to a vote. All those in favor of Article 7, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Article 7 passes by majority. No. We got a lot to do. What's up now? 18? So Article 18 is up. It's a planning board article. The planning board moves that the town vote to approve Article 18 as set forth in the December 16th, 2024 special town meeting warrant. Mr. Guimond.
Thank you. Back in 2020, an effort was made to streamline permitting process. An additional sentence was added to the scope of authority section of the Water Resource Protection District, WRPD. Until recently, it had been interpreted as allowing the planning board to also conduct site plan approval in the Water Resource Protection District when a new water resource protection special permit was needed, versus having to go to both the planning board and the Board of Appeals. Recently, this interpretation was changed, and it was determined that any and all changes needed to have site plan approval in the WRPD would now need to go to the planning board. That was not the intent of the language when it was originally drafted, and this article seeks to bring it back to the original intent. The next slide shows basically the changes that are being proposed. Planning board voted on December 9th, 3-0, to recommend favorably this article.
Can I have the planning board report as well?
That was the planning board report.
Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't pick that up along the way. Advisory board. No comment? Okay. Discussion from the floor. Mr. Stewart, reminder, this is a 2/3 vote when we go to vote.
Andrew Stewart, 8 Highland Street. I'm the building commissioner. I'm speaking on my behalf as a resident tonight. I am urging everyone to vote against this article. The Water Resource Protection District has very specific performance standards under the zoning bylaws for the purpose of preventing contamination of and preserving the quantity and quality of ground and surface water, which provides existing or potential water supply for the town's residents, institutions, and businesses. These performance standards address issues for both by right uses and special permit uses. Currently, yes, the planning board has the special permit granting authority and the site plan review board for all activities in the WRPD that are either allowed by right or allowed with a special permit. Currently, there are 12 uses in the bylaw that would require site plan approval that don't require a special permit. Those are churches, they are educational institutions, agriculture, communications towers, accessory structures. So things that would be a significant development like a church or a school that may not require a special permit because it's protected under the Dover Amendment, but still we want to have the performance standards addressed for drainage, for stormwater management, nitrogen loading, all of the specific things that the planning board, an elected board, is more qualified and more used to looking at as far as performance standards than the Zoning Board of Appeals, which is an appointed board of town officials. So I would encourage everybody to keep the language as written, vote down this article, and keep those performance standards looked at by one board in this town that's more qualified to do so. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Kelly.
Eric Kelly, Peterson Path. Maybe I missed it, but Greg, what is it seems to be a battle between the planning board and the ZBA on this. So what is the point on this article? If you can give more clarity to it, please.
The point was, when we made the change, it was to allow somebody to have one-stop shopping when they needed a water resource protection special permit from the planning board, to just go to the planning board instead of having to go to the Board of Appeals and the planning board for permits. The Board of Appeals would do the site plan approval. So that's all we were trying to do.
So
go back to the one-stop shopping for an applicant in that district. If you need a water resource protection special permit from the planning board, you would come to the planning board, and the planning board would take care of both the water resource special permit and site plan approval, so you did not have to go to a second board for the same project.
Is, I mean, I guess that benefits the developer or whoever's looking for the work to be done, I imagine. I mean, is there a problem with having a second oversight on this? I mean, I guess, has there been a problem with the ZBA in regards to them issuing permits that the planning board or the planning department had a contention with, or in other jobs, I guess?
I am not going to speak about any problems with any other board. I can tell you, as far as the special permit process, that's always been what the planning board has done, the special permit for the WRPD. The planning board, it was not originally written in for site plan approval. Site plan approval was originally written specifically for the Board of Appeals. After discussion, after several years, it came up between the two boards, is there any way we can streamline this so somebody doesn't have to go to both boards? And that's where this came from.
Okay, and then, so Andrew somewhat works under the ZBA, so I'm trying to, I understand what you're saying. So Andrew, can you further explain to what your concerns are in regards to what you relayed earlier, and just highlight a little bit more?
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, please.
In terms of the idea of one-stop shopping, and the original idea of this is, yes, if you have, so site plan approval is only for non-residential properties. So first of all, this would not affect any residential uses or properties. It's only going to affect commercial, agriculture, other uses that are non-residential would be covered under this. So there are some permits, there are some uses in this town in the Wellhead Protection District that require a special permit so that the planning board can ensure the water quality and the protection of the district. They also require site plan approval under that process. What the original intent was to make it one-stop shop was so that the site plan approval is a zoning bylaw that is set up just for the ZBA. So before, they would go for a site plan approval with the ZBA and a special permit with the planning board. Under the current language and the way I interpret it as it's written, right now it says the special permit granting authority is the planning board for any activity that requires a special permit and/or site plan approval. So that means all of them will go to the planning board for site plan approval and special permits. I think that is appropriate, and this is truly a one-stop shop. I think this language would now take it from one board and take it into two. So you would have one board that did site plan approval and special permits in the WRPD, and another board that only did site plan approval for special permits, or for basically churches, schools, communication equipment, accessory structures, those types of things that don't require a special permit, but still have to adhere to the strict performance standards of the WRPD. So that was, I believe it is currently set up as a one-stop shop, and that this would be kind of making the process a little bit more confused,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Kelly?
I think I'm almost confused as Andrew is right now in this whole matter. I guess I would ask Andrew is, does this process cut him out? Does he feel that it cuts him out where he should be involved?
Andrew?
So, Mr. Moderator, it's my responsibility as the building commissioner and zoning enforcement officer to look at development, proposed development, whether it is somebody trying to build a single-family house or somebody clearing land and wanting to put up a storage building, or any type of development in a flood zone, they come to me first to go over the project, find out a zoning determination, whether the use is allowed in that district, what type of permits or approvals they'll have to get, and from that point on, they get sent to the planning department or to the zoning board of appeals or the conservation department or the board of health or whatever appropriate board, the historical commission. From that point on, that's where they go. So I definitely don't feel that my position would be cut out in this. My position is one of the first steps in any type
Okay,
of development.
thank you.
I'm good.
Ms. Pasevich?
Hi, Joe Pasevich, Wilson Road. The language in the article, Mr. Moderator, the sentence that is, uses prohibited in the underlying zoning district shall be prohibited in WRPD. Is that new language?
Mr. Guimond?
The new language is blue bold.
Okay. Okay, all right, it wasn't clear on the warrant. The other thing, Mr. Moderator, the planning board as the special permit granting authority, don't they still have to adhere to floodplain regulations and watershed protection regulations?
Mr. Guimond?
Under the WRPD, we would be focused on the water protection.
Would, okay, so there wouldn't be floodplain regulations that would be applicable generally in a WRPD?
I do not believe there is any area in town that you would have floodplain involved with the Water Resource Protection District.
So, Ms. Marta, what can the plan tell us then that, to guarantee that all of the proper precautions and considerations are going to be taken in when they become the special permit authority? Because it sounds like the building department is talking about possibly not getting an extra level of scrutiny that they now have. Is that, am I reading that right? And with the planning
Mr.
board?
Guimond?
Yeah.
No. They typically go to Andrew first. Often when people come in, we will send them to Andrew if they haven't gone to Andrew first.
So there is still, they're seeking consultation and opinion and input, right?
But Andrew's comment was they go to him first, and he then looks at what's going on, and then it comes through and goes off to going through the process after that, but Andrew's the first point of contact.
Okay. All right. Well, I feel comfortable with that. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no further comments from the floor, we'll go to a vote on Article 18. Again, this is a two-thirds vote. All those in favor of Article 18, please raise your hand. All those opposed? I think we're going to be standing for this one because I think it's about a 50-50. So we're going to go to a standing vote. At least that way we get to see how many people are here. Look at it that way. So if the tellers can please rise, make sure you know who your teller is. Are you counting both? Do we need Mr. Wenig? There you are, Mr. Robinson, Ms. Sacchetti, Ms. Carney. Who's counting section B? Are you going to count these guys? Or
Sure, I can count. I can count the middle section because I can see all of you clearly.
okay.
Or both of you clearly, I should say.
Yeah, it's Kevin doesn't need a calculator this evening, so that works out better for everybody. Oh, Cindy's here. You want to take section B? Cindy Castro will count section B. Okay, so we're voting yes. That would be in favor of Article 18. All those who want to vote yes, please rise. Okay, we all set? We all set? Section A. 7. Section B. 10. Section C. 10. Section D. 9. Section E.
4.
4. Section F. What? 10. Okay. Now we're going to a no vote. All those who are not in favor of Article 18, please rise. Are we all set? Section A. 10. Section B. 6. Section C. 3. Section D. 13. Section E.
3.
3. And the front. 1.
Oh, I'm sorry, 3, excuse me.
3.
There are 2 down there.
Okay, 3.
It's them.
So the article passes 50 to 38. Oh, it's a two-thirds vote. Correct, thank you. It's a two-thirds vote, so we did not get our two-thirds. Majority vote, but not a two-thirds vote, so the article fails. Thank you for catching that. Article 25? We're on to Article 25. What do we have here? 50? Can you write down how many guys we have? Article 25, the Board of Public Works moves that the town vote to approve Article 25 as set forth in the December 16, 2024 special town meeting warrant. Mr. Stewart.
Mr. Moderator, thank you. This is another WRPD article in relation to PFAS chemicals and basically attempting to get ahead of the regulations and protect our water zones. One of the items that we added a few years ago was a bylaw that required that anybody doing work within this zone basically submit the products that they were going to be using to let us know if there were going to be PFAS chemicals in there, if they were going to be able to be avoided. And it said that you were going to have to submit a list of those materials and show cause for why they would have to be avoided to basically everybody but me. So this was an attempt to put it in writing to make sure that my office essentially continued to be involved in the process, since we do receive a lot of these permits, especially for construction activities. This gives the town water department, the Board of Health, the planning department, the town engineer the opportunity to go in on our online system when a building permit is applied for in the WRPD and get the information they need about PFAS chemicals. And so this article basically codifies that within the town code to make sure that it is perpetually continues to go on, regardless if we change our building permit system or some of the way we operate or the staffing in the building department.
Okay. And basically, what we're looking at, this is an existing bylaw that we already have. We're adding the building commissioner into the list of officials. That's the gist of this change that we're voting on today. Advisory board? Supported. I don't see any discussion from the floor. This is a majority vote. All in favor of Article 25, please raise your hand. All opposed? I declare that that passes by majority. Article 8. The Select Board moves that the town vote to approve Article 8 as set forth in the December 16, 2024 special town meeting warrant. And it's moved by the Select Board. It's going to be a majority vote. Mr. Moresco.
Thank you. Michael Moresco, 201 Arlington Street. This bylaw, I requested that we have this bylaw to address some issues that we have. This bylaw will require all new and existing parks and playgrounds in the town of Marshfield to be constructed or reconstructed in a manner that meets or exceeds any federal and/or state accessibility law and regulations, including the Americans with Disability Act, the state public accommodation laws, and the rules and regulations of the Architectural Access Board. So I would ask town meeting to support this article.
Okay. Advisory Board? Unanimous support from the Advisory Board. Discussion from the floor.
Jackie Mason, 1415 Ocean Street. I would just like to know when these parks will be ADA compliant, because as of right now, we have children sitting on the sidelines at recess not able to participate.
Get it. Do we have a timeline for getting them ADA compliant?
Michael Moresco, 201 Arlington Street. We're working as quickly as we can. The DPW, who's charged with the responsibility of maintaining the parks and playgrounds, have partnered with myself, and we filed an application with CPC requesting about $750,000 to address the ADA issues at our playgrounds. And then we will also infuse some town money in the spring. And once we get the funds, then we'll be able to, Sean Patterson from the DPW has a plan which in the process that he's going to get done first.
Okay, and when will that plan come out to the public?
Excuse me, I didn't hear your question.
When will that plan be available for the public to view? These parents are very anxious to have their children.
I get it. Do you know when the plan is available, or?
I can't speak for Mr. Patterson.
Is he here to
Maybe
speak?
check in with Sean. Sean's not here this evening, but he's the superintendent of the DPW.
Great, thank you.
Okay. You don't have to run, Joe. I can see you coming.
That's good. Question.
Joe Pasevich.
Joe Pasevich, Wilson Road.
Thank you.
Thank you. The second part of this, section 182.1, it states, no parks or playgrounds shall be constructed, et cetera, without approval of the building commissioner, the DPW superintendent, facilities manager, and the ADA committee. I'm wondering why it doesn't say, does not include the DPW board.
Well, the DPW drafted it, so according to town council.
This says it's sponsored by the select board. I don't recall the DPW talking about this. It's been to some, I'm seeing somebody nodding, by the way, unless they're falling asleep.
He was mumbling.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption. To me, the DPW board would probably want to be aware of something of this magnitude. I can't speak for the DPW board, but I don't know why they would not be in the loop on this kind of thing.
Don't know.
Anybody have an argument why they shouldn't be? Well, if nobody has a problem with it, then I'm going to amend it. I'd like to propose an amendment, Mr. Moderator, and where it says, with written approval of the building commissioner, the DPW board and superintendent. So the words board and.
Board of Public Works is the correct term.
Right, the DPW board.
No,
Board of Public Works.
Board of Public Works is the correct term.
Okay, without the.
So the
DPW
amendment on the floor is to
superintendent.
add Board of Public Works
Right.
into the list of
Right,
people.
Board of Public Works.
That's a legal amendment.
To me, and the reason is because, again, seems to be something that is going to have to be, they should be aware of because of the potential changes to the facilities that they have some oversight on. And the board
Okay.
really needs to be aware of something of this magnitude.
Okay, we got it. Any further discussion on the amendment? Do you have a discussion on the amendment at all? Going to go for a vote. It's a majority vote of the amendment. All in favor of the amended language? All opposed? I declare that the amendment passes. Further discussion on the article.
Tina Shea, Careswell Street. Are all of the playgrounds being demolished and redone, or are they being modified?
Mr. Maresco, do you know?
Michael Moresco, 201 Arlington Street, they're being modified. Some of the playgrounds were taken out. There was a couple of playgrounds that were taken out of service. I don't have the list in front of me. DPW and Sean Patterson have been working on it. They work tirelessly to get the playgrounds open and ready for school season, and once they get the funds, they'll be able to make the modifications. One of the biggest things that was noted was the ADA issue. That's why we filed the joint application with CPC to get the funding to make those improvements.
Thank you.
Steve Lukatis, 184 Elm Street. Does this affect the trails, the walking trails that are in the
No,
town?
this is just playgrounds.
Okay, so it doesn't come, it's not a park, then the trails don't count as, excuse me, as parks?
Right.
Okay.
Just playgrounds. Hi.
Julianne Kennedy, 16 Gates Road. I just wanted to thank you for putting this article in for us tonight. I'm one of the moms in Marshfield who has a daughter who needs the ADA accessibility on the playground. And currently, she cannot access, she's at DWS, she can't access everything fully because there's ramps, and she has cerebral palsy, and she can't get down on these little lips. There's chips on the floor. As the surfacing, she gets caught in those because she wears braces, so she trips and she falls, and she can't play like everybody else. And until a year and a half ago, she wasn't walking, so she wasn't able to actually even get on the playground. She had to sit in a wagon and watch all of her other friends play. So I hope that everybody moves to approve this tonight so we can work on this so all the kids in Marshfield can have a chance at playing at recess with their peers.
Thank you. Okay, so no further discussion on Article 8. This is a majority vote. All those in favor of Article 8, please raise your hand. All those opposed, I declare that passes unanimously. That's a great thing. We're on to our last article, Article 27. The Harbor Master moves that the town vote to approve Article 27 as set forth in the December 16, 2024 special town meeting warrant. Officer DeMayo.
Good evening, town meeting. I'll make this as quick and painless as possible. I want to keep you from getting out of here tonight. Article 27 is just a bylaw change, some minor edits to it. On the first line, number R is adding shanties, shacks of any kind under Section 5. It just adds Massachusetts general laws, CMRs, which are Code of Massachusetts regulations, and safety requirements. That's the only changes to the current article or town bylaw. Be happy to answer any questions. I'd be happy to see you guys in the summertime down the pier.
That's correct. Sorry, I want to make sure that we're in that right spot. Advisory Board.
Paul DeCristofaro, George Street. I just wanted to add what this really, what I like about this is what it clears, it specifically says what is allowed and what isn't allowed. So you can have a shanty sitting in the middle of the harbor. And, Advisory Board unanimously supports.
Okay. Discussion from the floor. Mr. Pasevich.
Hi, Joe Pasevich, Wilson Road. The first section, C, amended, current and amended, is that a typo? Marshfield Beach is in prohibited, or is that Marshfield Beach is prohibited?
Which section, Joe?
Sorry, I was distracted a little. So what was your question?
Yeah, the first sentence that deals with jet skis, water bikes. It says that, or similar crafts on North South River or within 300 feet of Marshfield Beach is in prohibited or is prohibited?
Is. That was a Scrivener error.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Any further discussion on Article 27? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. This is a majority vote. And don't get up just quick. We want to check to make sure that one of the other articles was voted correctly. So we're voting for Article 27. It's a majority vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? I declare that Article 27 passes. And we're all good. We're done. Thank you very much. I accept that motion. All those in favor? Aye. And happy holidays.